Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jeff Rains coming to you again with Foundation of Civilization. Wanted to give you a weekly rundown. We've had a lot of things happen this week that were interesting, and well, just to get started, oil is was down 1.61% to 67.20. That's the West Texas Intermediate. Brent oil was also down 1.35% to 71.12. And the OPEC basket was up slightly at 0.6% to $72.37 a barrel. Gold was down 0.63% to 2624.64. Silver was up 2.58% to 3105. And the Baltic Exchange Dry Goods Index continued its downward trend to 13.81% to 1167. The military naval deployments. I also picked up a little bit more information this week, and we saw that there are quite a few military flights that are flying into Eastern Europe. They um, now something else that has happened is that we typically see a lot of surveillance flights over Europe, over the United States, and various other places. Their transponders have been turned off, so we can't track them through normal means anymore. That that tells me that there is a good likelihood that there's something that is about to kick off. And I've got some more news that may relate to that. Actually, I'll go ahead and just kind of trying to just kind of front load it. We've seen that the Russian forces are starting to mass, possibly for a cross river incursion in Ukraine, in southern Ukraine. That uh, the NATO response to the Russian buildup could be that they're tracking those things and they're trying to rearrange military forces and try to help the Ukrainians get ready for what's about to come. Now, that's not a guarantee, but that's just what the indicators are suggesting right now. Uh, As far as naval deployments go, the USS America is important to Sasebo, Japan. The aircraft carrier USS George Washington is important in Yokosuka, Japan. The Abraham Lincoln has departed Port Klang, Malaysia, and is operating in the South China Sea. The USS Carl Vinson is transiting the Pacific, heading westbound. The USS Harry Truman arrived in Marseille, France, for a routine port visit. The USS Nimitz is in port in Bremerton, Washington. USS Tripoli has returned to San Diego, California. The USS Wasp is transiting the Atlantic on its way home to Norfolk, Virginia. I also wanted to note that although we don't have the carrier groups, we have several Navy ships that are patrolling the Gulf of Aden, Oman, and in the Red Sea. Over in Europe, the DAX markets were up this week, 4.11%. Most of the European markets were up significantly. Uh, and that took it to 20,384.61. The FTSE was only up slightly at 0.26% to 8308.61. The CAC 40 was up 3.77% to 7426.88. And the IBEX was up 3.86% to 12,072.00. Of significant news in Europe, Putin has approved a record defense budget, which equates to 32.5% of Russian GDP. The budget for 2025, which was published Sunday, allocated about 126 billion, 13.5 trillion rubles to national defense. And the 2025's defense budget is about 28 billion, higher than the previous record set for by this year. As I noted, Russian forces appear to be massing for a new cross-river offensive in southern Ukraine. Poland has established a $740 million fund to start ammunition production. Sweden, socially, Sweden has seen a surge in contract killings by youth. Gangs are exploiting the loophole in the law and having young people commit killings, commit murders, and they're able to the young people are able to get out of jail in a few years. The incoming U.S. administration's plan to end the Ukraine war may include land concessions, but NATO membership would be off the table. NATO membership has been a sticking point for Russia. The only trouble is that the current president of Ukraine has made NATO membership a requirement. We'll see how that one works its way out. Over in Asia, the Nikkei was up 2.73% to 39091.17. The SSE index was up 2.27% to 3404.08. The Hang Seng index was up 2.18 to 1988.65.85. The BSE Sensex was up 2.47% to 81,709.12. And the Nifty 50 was down 0.77% to 39,091.17. As noted earlier this week, the South Korean Prime Minister declared martial law. A and then a fight erupted with his legislature. It appears that the two have been arguing over quite a few things, and tensions have tamped down a bit. Originally, the legislature wanted to impeach the president, and apparently that's been taken off the table for the moment. I found out some more interesting information also. Uh, the last time that martial law was declared in South Korea was 40 years ago. The Also the South Korean presidency position of presidency is a rather dangerous position if you like your freedom. Every past president has been arrested or removed from office, and many of them sent to prison. The only exception was the last president, which appears that they were about to have some type of legal action taken against them. In a bid to aid its Asian neighbor, Japan has transferred naval radar and small boats to the Philippines. Uh, China has imposed a ban on key exports of antimony, gallium, and germanium to the U.S. These metals are key in making computer chips, which are necessary for most modern computers, and especially those AI related. In the Middle East, the tentative Israeli Lebanon ceasefire has essentially collapsed, and fighting has erupted again. It doesn't seem like it's all out fighting, but uh, they're still shooting at each other quite a bit. In Syria, as I noted earlier this week, it was highly interesting that the day after the ceasefire, the Lebanon-Israel ceasefire was initiated, the Syrian rebels stepped up their efforts, and Western-backed Syrian rebels stepped up their efforts. The Syrian civil war is it's a convoluted mess of people. The Right now, the government forces of Syria are being aided by Iraqi militias, but the rebel forces have captured Aleppo, and they were moving on to Hama, and it's even being reported that they're on the outskirts of Damascus. In Africa, the current U.S. president visited and promised over $1 billion in investments for infrastructure. Unfortunately, he seems to have tons of money for every other country in the world, but nothing for East Palestine, Lahaina, Hawaii, and now Western New York and Eastern Tennessee. A a road accident in Ivory Coast killed 26 people when two buses crashed into each other. Another 28 people were injured. Namibia has elected its first female leader as a vice president. A mystery illness has killed dozens in the Congo. Burkina Faso military has sacked the prime minister and dissolved the government. In the Americas, the Dow Jones average was down very slightly, 0.32% to 44,642.52. The S&P was up slightly, 0.83% to 6,090.27. And the Nasdaq was up significantly, 2.59% to 19,859.77. Down in Haiti, there's a Kenyan police force that is trying to aid with security in the in the nation. Though those security forces have been exchanging gunfire with the local gangs. Now, if you remember, recently gangs had tried to invade a new neighborhood, but the residents, along with police, killed over 2 dozen gang members. Well, the violence continues in Haiti as Haiti tries to find peace. Uh, Human, almost forgotten, is the Darien Gap, but human smuggling continues to push through the Darien Gap, and it is a very dangerous place for people to come through. But a lot of people come through it to make it their way to the United States. It's been discovered that cartels are recruiting chemistry students to enhance fentanyl that they were distributing into the United States. A 7.0 earthquake hit the coast of Northern California, which prompted a tsunami warning. Luckily, no tsunami was noted. In worldwide news, the CEO of United Healthcare was shot and killed in New York in a targeted killing. Manhunt is underway for the killer, but little is known about them at the time. It has also sparked quite a bit of discussion, conflict about the nature of the CEOs and the insurance payment system that we have. Last thing I want to note for this week is that the Select Committee on COVID Response finally published their findings, and there's some significant findings. One key note that I came away with is that nearly everything that the government or the media told us was wrong. At the time, I kind of scratched my head and I wondered, okay, what's right, what's wrong, what's off? Um, What are they? I can't even say that they're guessing anymore because they just didn't show enough interest in finding the truth. Because I could look at some of the data and say some of this stuff doesn't add up. So some of the key findings that I'll make a note of here is that COVID was made in a lab, and that information was accurate. There were a couple of studies that showed that the only place that the virus could have come from is from a lab. Interestingly enough, at least for me, is that EcoHealth Alliance and Dr. Peter Daszak were singled out by name that they should never receive government money again. Former New York Governor Cuomo uh, was cited as participating in medical malpractice. The National Institutes of Health uh, did indeed fund gain of function research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. The Chinese government, agencies within the U.S. government, and some members of the international scientific community sought to cover up the facts concerning the origin of the pandemic. One of the things that is most significant that came out of this investigation is that the Constitution cannot be suspended in times of crisis and restrictions on freedoms sow distrust in public health. Watching the way our leaders, political leaders, our scientific leaders, our media leaders responded to the pandemic was very disturbing for me. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I decided to go ahead and start doing this video is because there was such poor information that was coming out. I I have to say that I'm just very disgusted. It took us a significant amount of money to create the COVID-19 and took us a significant amount of money to investigate how we created COVID-19. And it should never have cost us that money. And that should never have cost us any money. It should never cost anybody any of their lives. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there are changes that are coming in the world. I hope that you guys are preparing and are looking ahead for those changes and trying to get ready. Uh, we who knows exactly what is around the corner, but like I said, much love to everybody. Please get ready, prepare, and stay safe, everyone. Hug your families and friends, and I'm going to look into some other stuff and try to do some other videos here very shortly because we're putting way too much priority on politicians that frankly don't deserve our any respect or understanding. Thanks again, and I hope that you guys have a wonderful week. Um, like I said, much love and good luck to everybody. Jeff Rains signing out.